Tigers picked up 2 conference wins this weekend. We'll talk about it here today on the Tiger Lacrosse Report, which starts right now. Hello again, fans, and welcome to today's edition of the Tiger Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Ben Rosenbaum. Towson opened up CAA play on the road, and then their second game here at home, first against Drexel and then against Delaware, and picked up 2 big wins to talk about the weekend. I'm joined, as always, by head coach Sonia LaMonica. So, Coach, that was a fun weekend you guys had.
Yeah, winning is fun, Ben. Winning is really fun.
36 combined goals between both games, and you only give up 12. First beating Drexel 20-5, and then Delaware 16-7. The offense was just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, particularly in Drexel, I think we did a really nice job of just playing together as a team. It was some really good stuff happening in that game, which was exciting. Lots of different goal scorers, and that's always a lot of fun too. So there was a lot of energy in that game, and defense did a great job holding Drexel to 5.
Yeah, 4 players in that game against Drexel scoring a hat trick. Carly Tellekamp leading the way with 4 goals. One of those goals, her 100th of her career, and
having a few of those.
Yeah, it's all kind of piling up now at the same time. Carly puts herself now in conversation to get onto that all-time scoring list just as a junior, because we talked about Emily a little while ago. She's scoring her 109th, made her in 9th, so Carly's not far off that pace, and she's just having a fabulous career.
Yeah, when Carly has a little bit of room and space in front of her and the ability to get a good shot off, she's just such an outstanding finisher. She shoots with great velocity, great precision, and I think her shooting percentage is up there in the nation. She's definitely up there, and so she's just an outstanding finisher. And she's starting to do a better job off ball as well, which is something that we've given her focus to stay moving, stay a little more active. And she's starting to we're starting to see that from her more, which is going to open up even more opportunities.
Yeah, you mentioned shooting percentage. Much to the chagrin of Drexel's goalies, at one point in the game, you had 12 shots, and all 12 had been on goal, whether they were saved or honestly, probably at that point, scored more often than not. That has to be something, and it continued that way throughout the game. That is something that is so tiring to not just a goalie, but to a defense for time and time again. You know that ball is probably going to be on cage.
Yeah, and that's one of the kind of the goals we set looking at all of our games this season. Shooting percentage is one of them, and in many of our games that has been high, so not just for Carly, but as a group, as a unit. Our shooting percentage is very strong, and we're seeing a lot of goals being scored, and that shot percentage is sort of making it very impressive. So that's a testament to their skill set. Us in practice, making a point about moving the goalies, having patience on your shots, and being ready to be a finisher. So we're seeing that play out across the board for many of them, which is we're going to need that as we get deeper into conference play.
You mentioned many goal scorers in that Drexel game. Shaylee Love gets 2 goals in that game. She's looking like she's starting to get comfortable.
Yeah.
And then you empty the bench, and Abby Mona picks up 2 goals.
Yeah.
And that was what I think was probably the most impressive thing about that, was you brought in the backups at one point, and they were still continuing to move the ball well and score against Drexel starters.
Yeah, and I think, and that too is good for keeping our starters on their toes. We've got a lot of players who obviously have a hunger to be out on the field and to compete, and they're paying attention. They're listening to, what's being expected and how we need to play, and they're getting out there and they're executing it. So, I was really pumped about that, and to see some of these who haven't had as many opportunities get a shot and to execute well. So that's great. It tells me that they're paying attention.
And now fast forward to the Delaware game. Kylie Keating picks up Defensive Player of the Week again. 14 saves, a new career high from her, which she reset since the game against Florida. She was incredible. The whole defense incredible throughout the whole week. And somebody we don't talk about often, we always talk about Tiana and Olivia and Sammy. Meg Lynch, 2 caused turnovers, 4 ground balls. She is always pretty solid on that defensive unit, but doesn't get a lot of recognition for it.
She's a scrapper. This is her first season of, getting a sort of starting role within that defensive unit, and she's in a position on the field where she has to be very active. She has to be on her toes, and she's one of the hardest workers out there. So, it's exciting to see her chipping in some of these stats too. That the other 3 have been taking the bulk of, and Meg's starting to step up and show that she's capable, very capable too. So super excited about that.
So 2-0 now to start off conference play, and you win them in such decisive fashion.
Yeah.
If you had to draw up a way to start conference play, is this how you would have drawn it up, a 20-5 victory and then a 16-7 victory?
I mean, the score doesn't always tell the whole story, right?
Yeah.
And there was a segment in Delaware there where, we had our challenges. And I think, in just talking about defense, I mean, I think at one point it was 7-6 and and Delaware came out and scored 2 goals in the second half. And, we've got a game in our hands, and I think that's where we see the strength of our defense. I mean, they flexed their muscles and started really making plays on the defensive end and getting the ball to our offense, despite, us offensively, even through that stretch, having some great goals and some offensive possessions that, we've got to do a better job. It's very comforting to know that we've got such a great defense that has the ability to do that, and that transitions up the field to our offense. So, and that allowed us to pull away. So I really credit our defense in that aspect. And that's the takeaway. Despite, walking away with a pretty convincing win from Delaware, there's some things we've got to do a better job of, because as we know, it's a game of runs and momentum can swing at any point. And I think we've just got to be a little stronger. And I think the other key is the draws. When we're winning the draws, we see a very prolific offense happening. And if we're not winning the draws, it's an uphill battle, as I've said before. So I think the defense has really been our key. As I said, in sparking some magic to happen and being able to then pull away in a game.
Absolutely. So. All right. So that'll do it for us today on the Tiger Lacrosse Report. Join us next time when we preview the Tigers' road trip against the Phoenix of Elon and the Tribe of William and Mary. For head coach Sonia LaMonica, I'm Ben Rosenbaum. Thanks for joining us, and as always, go Tigers.